Topping our news in this half hour, the Republican-led House passed a major piece of the president's agenda last week, but it faces more hurdles now in the U.S. Senate. The big, beautiful bill, as the president called it, would maintain tax cuts for Americans from his first administration while looking to slash what he called wasteful spending from the budget. The Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, says the legislation would add another $3.8 trillion to the debt. Now, some fiscally conservative Republicans in the Senate are reportedly not happy about that, and Democrats are arguing the tax cuts would go directly to the very rich. President Trump said he would like the legislation to clear the Senate by July 4th, but that may be a little optimistic. Meantime, Republican Congressman David Valadao has been under fire from Democrats and local activists since the first week of the Trump administration, as the right targets his seat for the 2026 midterm elections. The overwhelming majority of protests and demonstrations have centered around Medicaid. Now, Valadao has seen this picture, demonstrators touting the bill as trying to eliminate Medicaid or portions thereof, something Valadao has said he would never support. I sat down with him over the Memorial Day weekend where I asked him about the attacks over the last few months and asked him to explain the final version of the bill that passed on a very close vote. He said the purpose was to try and eliminate some of the waste, but that it would still help mothers and children, the disabled and senior citizens, while requiring single adults with no dependents who are able-bodied to try and find work.
There's a lot of folks out there asking questions, and the reality is if you are someone who the program was created for, disabled, women and children, people who aren't able to work, this isn't going to change for you at all. Now, for those who are able-bodied with no dependents, and you choose not to go try to make that effort to go get a job, go to school, or volunteer, do something in your community, yeah, you're probably going to be affected at that point. But the average person who is working really hard to provide for their family thinks that's the right thing to do. And what Dolores and others are ignoring is that polling shows that the majority of Americans want us to have our programs to be sustainable. Sustainable means taking care of those who need it most, and those who should be working in part of society and being productive should be. And it's not an unfair ask.
He also reiterated the real motive behind the attacks was centered around them targeting his seat and several other GOP seats in California. Valadao said what the other side is also not talking about is the tax breaks that remain, which he says will help people in his district along with small businesses. He said he expects changes in the Senate, which should send it back to the House for more discussion.